It's early morning. Coffee brewing. The house is quiet. Then 3 hard knocks shake the door. Through the peephole, you see ICE jackets. Your heart drops. This moment right here decides everything. In the next 60 seconds, one wrong move can put you in detention or on a plane out of the country. Most people lose not because they're guilty, but because they don't know what to say or what not to do. Stay with me. This could protect your family. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type "interested" in the comments. And I will give you a heart. It always starts the same way. Not with sirens. Not with flashing lights. But with a knock. Hard. Sharp. Deliberate. The kind of knock that doesn't belong at 6 in the morning. The kind that makes your chest tighten before your brain even catches up. You weren't doing anything wrong. You were making coffee. Getting ready for another normal day. Your kids were asleep. Your phone was charging. Life was quiet. And then suddenly, it isn't. You walk toward the door slowly. Every step feels heavy. You don't want to look, but you do. Through the peephole, you see dark jackets. Big letters. ICE. One of them is already close to the handle. Your heart is pounding so hard you can hear it in your ears. They knock again, louder this time. Open the door. We need to talk. This is not just a scare tactic. This is the fork in the road. What you do in the next minute matters more than anything you've done in years. Because here's the truth no one tells you clearly. Most immigration cases are lost in the first 30 seconds. Not in court. Not in front of a judge. Not after paperwork. They're lost right here, at the door, before the case even begins. From your perspective, this feels like chaos. Fear. Confusion. Your mind starts racing. What if they already know everything? What if I make it worse by not answering? What if staying silent makes me look guilty? Those thoughts are natural. They're human. And they're exactly what the system is counting on. Now shift perspective for a moment. From their side of the door, this isn't chaos. This is routine. Officers are trained for this exact situation. They know most people panic. They know most people talk. They know most people open the door without thinking. And they know that once you do, their job becomes much easier. This isn't about good people versus bad people. It's about knowledge versus ignorance. The rules of this system are not explained to you ahead of time. There's no warning class. No handbook dropped in your mailbox. And yet you're expected to play perfectly, under pressure, while terrified, with your family watching. That's not an accident. That's design. The first mistake most people make is assuming cooperation equals safety. The officer might sound calm. Friendly, even. We just want to ask a few questions. We're looking for someone, can you help us? This will be easier if you talk to us. From your side, it feels harmless to answer. From their side, every word you say is information. Evidence. Confirmation. They might ask, "Are you Carlos Martinez?" And you think, if I say no, I'm lying. If I say yes, I'm being honest. What you don't realize is that you are not required to answer at all. The moment you say, "Yes, that's me," you've identified yourself. You've connected your name to your body, your location, and your address. That single word can undo years of legal protection. Now let's talk about the paper. This is where fear really takes over. An officer holds up a document and says, "We have a warrant." Most people hear that word and stop thinking. Warrant equals authority. Authority equals obedience. But here's the part that almost no one explains clearly. There are 2 kinds of warrants. Only one matters. An administrative warrant is signed by ICE itself. An immigration officer. It might look official. It might have seals, logos, and serious language. but it does not give them the legal right to enter your home without your permission. A judicial warrant is signed by a judge. A real judge. From a real court. With a name and signature at the bottom. That is the only document that allows officers to enter your home without your consent. From your perspective, both papers look powerful. From the law's perspective, only one actually is. And here's the dangerous part. Officers are not required to explain the difference to you. They can say, "We have a warrant," and let your fear fill in the rest. If you open the door for an administrative warrant, you didn't get overpowered. You gave permission. And once consent is given, it cannot be taken back. This is why keeping the door closed matters so much. The door is not just wood and metal. It's a legal boundary. As long as it stays closed, your rights stay intact. The moment it opens, the balance of power shifts. Now let's flip perspectives again. From the officer's side, the goal is simple. Get you to open the door. Get you to talk. Get you to sign something. Each step makes the next easier. They are trained to move quickly because confusion works in their favor. Pressure works in their favor. Silence does not. From your side, silence feels dangerous. It feels wrong. We're taught our entire lives that good people answer questions. Good people cooperate. Good people don't cause trouble. But immigration enforcement does not work like normal social interactions. This is not a conversation. This is a process. And processes don't care about intentions. Another common mistake happens if detention occurs. Papers are placed in front of you. Forms. Clipboards. The officer might say, "This will go faster if you sign." Or, "This just says you understand." Or, "This helps your case." But buried in those pages can be something called voluntary departure. Voluntary departure sounds harmless. It isn't. It means you agree to leave the country. You waive your right to fight your case. You give up legal options you may not even know you have. Once signed, it's extremely hard to undo. From your perspective, you're exhausted. Scared. You want it to end. From their perspective, this is the finish line. One signature saves months of court proceedings. Now let's talk about the law, because this is where power shifts back to you. The Constitution does not disappear because of immigration status. The Fourth Amendment protects against unlawful searches and seizures. That means officers need a proper warrant or your consent to enter your home. The Fifth Amendment gives you the right to remain silent. Silence is not guilt. Silence is protection. The Sixth Amendment gives you the right to an attorney. These are not loopholes. These are shields. They exist because history proved that power without limits leads to abuse. But here's the problem. Rights only protect you if you use them. Officers will not remind you. They will not slow down and say, "Just so you know, you can stay silent." That's your responsibility. From your perspective, asserting rights can feel rude, aggressive, dangerous. From a legal standpoint, it's none of those things. It's smart. This is where the main idea becomes clear. The system runs on one assumption. That you don't know the rules. That assumption is what turns ordinary people into easy cases. When you know the rules, everything changes. So let's anchor this in one core truth. Most people lose not because they are undocumented, but because they unknowingly help the system move against them. They open doors. They answer questions. They sign papers. Not because they're careless, but because no one ever taught them otherwise. This isn't about defying law enforcement. It's about understanding boundaries. It's about knowing when silence is strength. It's about protecting your future in the most stressful moment imaginable. In the next part, we're going to flip the perspective again. We'll break down the exact words that protect you, the steps that keep you safe, and how to act if the situation moves beyond the door. Not theory. Not opinion. Clear actions you can remember under pressure. Because knowledge is only useful if you can use it when fear takes over. That's where real protection begins. Now let's move forward from the moment at the door and get brutally practical, because this is where the outcome is truly decided. Not by luck. Not by sympathy. By what you say, what you don't say, and what you do in the next few minutes. This is where most people lose control without realizing they ever had it. From your perspective, once the knock happens, everything feels urgent. Your body is in survival mode. Your brain is screaming to do something, anything, to make the situation end. That's exactly why memorization matters. Because under stress, you won't invent the right response. You'll fall back on whatever you've practiced. So here is the central idea you must lock in. You do not win these situations by being clever. You win by being boring, repetitive, and silent. Let's start with the single most important rule again, because repetition saves lives. Do not open the door. You are allowed to speak through the door. You are allowed to ask questions through the door. You are allowed to refuse through the door. The door is your shield. The moment it opens, officers gain visual access, spatial access, and narrative control. They can say they saw something. They can place a foot inside. They can escalate. None of that happens while the door stays closed. Now, from the officer's perspective, the closed door is a problem. They cannot legally cross it without consent or a judicial warrant. So they will try to create consent. Not by force at first, but by conversation. We just need to clarify something. This will be easier if you cooperate. You don't want to make this worse. Those statements are designed to trigger fear and compliance. They are not statements of law. They are psychological tools. This is where your first sentence matters. Not a speech. Not an explanation. One sentence. Do you have a warrant signed by a judge? That's it. Calm. Clear. Through the door. If they say yes, you ask them to slide it under the door or hold it up to a window. You are allowed to read it. You are allowed to look for a judge's signature. You are allowed to take your time. Silence while reading is not obstruction. If there is no judge's signature, you say the next sentence. I do not consent to you entering my home. That sentence is powerful because it removes ambiguity. It removes confusion. It creates a clear record. Consent is either given or denied. You are denying it. Now let's be very clear. You do not need to argue. You do not need to explain. You do not need to justify. Arguing creates openings. Explaining creates inconsistencies. Justifying creates opportunities for follow-up questions. From the officer's perspective, every extra word is a chance to push. From your perspective, fewer words mean fewer risks. Now let's talk about the 3 words that protect you everywhere, not just at the door. These words work in your home. On the street. At work. In a car. In detention. I remain silent. Or if you want the full version. I am exercising my right to remain silent. This is not disrespectful. This is not suspicious. This is a constitutional right. Once you say it, you stop talking. Completely. No clarifying. No apologizing. No nervous explanations. Here's why this matters. Immigration enforcement is administrative, not criminal, but statements you make can still be used against you. Inconsistencies, admissions, guesses, or nervous answers can all become part of a record. Silence cannot be misquoted. Now let's address a dangerous myth. Many people believe silence makes things worse. That officers will punish you for not talking. That's not how the law works. Officers may not like silence, but they must respect it. Silence removes your ability to accidentally harm yourself. Next, the moment papers appear. This is where panic peaks. You're tired. You're scared. You want clarity. An officer says, "Sign here." Maybe they say it's just to acknowledge something. Maybe they say it speeds things up. From your perspective, signing feels like progress. From their perspective, signing is victory. You need one sentence burned into your brain. I will not sign anything without speaking to my attorney. That sentence stops the process cold. Officers cannot force you to sign. They may pressure you. They may repeat themselves. They may imply consequences. But they cannot legally compel your signature. And here's the part people don't understand. Signing is not neutral. Signing is consent. Signing is agreement. Signing is waiver. Once you sign, it is extremely difficult to undo. Now let's talk about what not to do, because these mistakes are common and devastating. Do not lie. Lying feels like protection, but it creates new charges and credibility problems. Do not give a fake name. Do not give false documents. Silence is safer than lies. Do not run. Running turns a civil immigration issue into a criminal one. It gives officers justification to escalate force. It creates new legal problems that did not exist before. Do not physically resist. Resistance can result in injury and additional charges. Calm compliance without cooperation is the balance. Now shift perspective again. From your family's point of view. Children watching. A spouse frozen. Fear spreading through the house. This is why preparation matters before anything ever happens. Because in the moment, you are not just protecting yourself. You are modeling behavior for everyone around you. This is why families should practice these scenarios calmly. Not in fear, but in clarity. Everyone should know not to open the door. Children should know not to answer questions. Family members should know who to call. Write down the number of an immigration attorney or legal aid organization. Keep it in your wallet. Tape it inside a cabinet. Give copies to trusted people. Because if you are detained, you are allowed to make a phone call. That call should not be a scramble. Now let's talk about street encounters, because not every interaction happens at home. If you are stopped on the street, at a bus stop, or at work, the most important question is this. Am I free to go? If the answer is yes, you walk away calmly. No arguing. No explanations. Just leave. If the answer is no, you invoke your rights immediately. I am exercising my right to remain silent. I do not consent to any searches. I want to speak to a lawyer. Then you stop talking. From your perspective, this feels terrifying. From a legal perspective, this is clean, correct, and powerful. Now let's pull everything together into one main idea, because this is what ties both perspectives into a single truth. Immigration enforcement relies less on force and more on compliance. Most outcomes are decided not by judges, but by ordinary people unknowingly giving up their rights under pressure. The system moves fastest when people don't know the rules. When you know the rules, the system slows down. Slowing down creates time. Time creates options. Options create outcomes. This is not about beating the system. It's about refusing to be crushed by it through ignorance. Knowing your rights does not make you guilty. It makes you prepared. It makes you harder to manipulate. It keeps decisions where they belong, in front of a judge, not at your doorstep. And here's the most important part. Information is only protection if it's shared. One person knowing this is helpful. A family knowing this is powerful. A community knowing this is survival. That's the real message. Not fear. Not panic. Preparation. Because the knock may never come. But if it does, you will not be frozen. You will not be guessing. You will not be hoping. You will know exactly what to do.